Okay, so we're going to be testing live um, whether or not I still have the audio from the game playing. Dang it, I need to. I had to go into. Okay. Set up stream. So I'm going to be attempting to do a live review of this. I think this might be my second time doing a blind review, and possibly my first time doing a blind review playing for the entire game. Because I think the last time I did it was Saints Row last year, and it didn't. I ended up quitting that game. Not because I thought it was terrible, but because there was a stealth mission, and I have a disdain for mandatory stealth missions. Oh, I let's do a system update. Because of course I do. Of course, it's a game update. Like even Nintendo games are getting day one patches today these days. Uh, really hoping that just with my luck. Wait, hey, I have game audio. Cool. Ominous.
This strange gloom keeps getting thicker. We've been descending for a while now. These tunnels are deeper than I thought. What could be down here?
Guess we know who Zelda is. Oh, we're playing. Let me guess, something happens that drains all of our hearts. Oh.
People have been falling ill after coming into contact with the gloom drifting through these caverns. Though here
Don't go
it
into the
seems
caverns.
almost misty and not concentrated enough to harm us. We'll keep going, with it coming up from beneath Hyrule Castle. We do not know what waits below, so we need to be ready for anything. But I know I'll be okay with you, Link. Let's go solve this mystery.
No more voice acting. It must be. That sort of must be sensing something. I knew we had reason for concern. Ever since the end of the calamity, the castle has fallen into neglect. Never could have imagined anything like these tunnels were hiding here. Be careful as we move deeper. We might be starting on a negative. I don't know what I did for the original Breath of the Wild. I'm not sure. I don't think I had the notes for it. Like I have. I think it was when I was writing in a notebook. I think I wrote those notes in a notebook, and I don't have them. Like I've moved to text files for at least for console games. For games on PC, like Starfield, I'm going to have to, if I decide to review Starfield at all, which I honestly, I'm not sure I'm actually going to review Starfield. At least not on the first playthrough, because I actually want to do that as a role playthrough rather than a review playthrough. So that's probably not going to be a problem. Um, yeah. We can save it for us. Let's go ahead and. Oh, I keep on forgetting that the A button's over here. Because I'm so used to. That's something that I could just fault kind of with. Potentially, anyway. Is that their controller layout is just so radically different from any other. Um, from the other consoles that in terms of like which buttons do what and where they are that when I play a game like Breath of the Wild, it's like, oh, my instinct is to use like with the B button, at least where it is. Yeah, it's okay. Like it is technically the A button. That like the weird thing is that like um they do technically use the same buttons. Like the A button is confirm, and the B button is back, but they're laid out differently. So the A button, which is normally here, is up here. So my um my reflexes, my muscle memory as a gamer tells me um push this button to confirm and push this button to cancel. But the buttons are reversed, so I push B when I mean to push A. I have no idea why Nintendo does that. I don't think there's any built-in function to the Y button attacks though. Huh. But I wanted we could be getting negatives out of the way. Okay, so there's a ton of special controls, which you haven't unlocked yet. Amiibo disabled? Oh, until you reach a certain point in the game. Okay. Um, aim and motion controls has been enabled. I might have to disable that. Um, swap jump controls. Huh. Jump to B and dash with other actions to X. That's, I guess, nice, but I'd rather have the A and B buttons swapped, at least in menus. um, lock minimap to north. we do have some like good quality of life features here. I do feel like they should allow you to um so I'm not sure if I've ever actually addressed in any game button remapping. So we had to kind of, I mean, maybe setting a precedent here. Um, or I might just be avoiding setting a precedent for now. Because the thing is, as far as I'm aware, you can't actually remap the buttons in in um in the system settings. You can't remap them in the game, which would be so. Okay, like the question is basically. Well, I guess like the big question is, should we give us a negative? Like should we ding the game for the inability to significantly remap the controls? Like there's only one thing we can remap, which is like the jump and put away buttons, I guess. We can swap X and B. But we can't swap B and A. Which is kind of weird, because that would seem like to be the first thing, at least for an American who is used to playing with, you know, PlayStation, like even the PlayStation controller, the X button, which is down here, is the confirm button, at least here in. And the O button is usually back. So it's just so weird that like they reverse the buttons without actually. Is that traditional for the? Let me look. I have a. Yeah, it is traditional for Nintendo. Like if you look at like the very first example, although this is the retro power controller, but um, I also think it's probably a Japanese thing in some ways because I think at least in Japan, like a lot of games have the O button be confirm and the X button be back, which actually symbolically makes sense. Um, because like O is like okay, X is like no, I want to exit, X for exit. It's just that the majority of games, for whatever reason, have just decided to do the opposite here in America because whatever. Um, um, I'm also not sure if I say necessarily that the fact that you could change the control with the system settings is an excuse to a valid excuse to uh, exclude it from in game for a couple reasons. One is that you may just want to customize things on an individual basis because maybe certain like games developed by Western publishers are just going to do the work for you as you know Like if I were playing Borderlands, for example, I don't know for sure, but because I haven't played it on the Switch yet. But I would imagine that the B button would be kind of a more of a confirm button for Western games, whereas for a Nintendo game, or this game in particular, it is the back button. So some games might, you know, go ahead and recognize, a player's preference and, or what they're used to, how they're used to using a controller, and be like, okay, well, the B is confirmed, the A is back. And had that be the default. So if you have the settings for the system um, designed to reverse that, then you're just kind of, okay, now I have to go into the system settings and change it back when I want to play Borderlands or Skyrim or whatever. Well, when I play Zelda Tears of the Kingdom or Breath of the Wild, I have to set it. I had to invert at least the A and B buttons. Now, granted, I probably will get used to this over time as I'm playing the game, but I should have to get used to a particular controller layout. It should feel intuitive, given like the majority of games I play have a particular controller layout, and I'm not like. And technically, this has the same controller layout as heck the Xbox. It's just the buttons are in different spots, and yeah. And great, Nintendo could fix this a variety of ways. One is that they could just make their, add the ability in their games to, customize the controls. The other way would be to just allow the system settings you to create within your system settings a profile that, and maybe this is already present. I don't know, but to create a profile and be like, okay, I'm binding this profile to this game. And every other game uses the default profile. I'm not sure how hard that would be to do, but probably would be easier to do than going in and patching every single one of their current games to um, include the ability to it would be infinitely lazy. Hey, like, how can it be negative now when there's a key in my map? It's like you should just play the game. Did I actually save? I should be able to make that much progress with this game. The other negative I could potentially give is for inconsistent voice acting. And that again is a kind of a Japanese thing. These are ruins from ancient civilization. Wait, something is written here. Might these ruins be from the Zonai? It's also weird, like, I watched Nintendo Black Crisis, and I think this is the first time I actually heard about the Zonai. Like, maybe I wasn't paying that much attention in Breath of the Wild, because there may have been some actual characters who referenced to certain ruins being from a civilization called the Zonai. But, I don't know. Hey, I found the Easter eggs. These carvings. I'm sure there's Zonai in origins. I've seen designs like this in my studies. Those others said they lived here long ago, in the time of earliest legend. They possessed godlike powers and had a prosperous civilization in the sky. History books tell us about the Zonai, but none gives us the full picture. Much is still unknown about them. Is this good? I'd be incredibly happy if this confirms my suspicion that that I've had for a while, that Skyward Sword is the 10,000 years ago. Or roughly 10,000 years ago. I guess pre-Skyward Sword events. Is this what the Zonai looked like? It seems so different from us, and such large ears. How did the ruins of a civilization in the sky end up here beneath the castle? Seems like the path ahead goes even deeper. Let's continue, Link. Oh, we already climb. Oh, we have full climbing. Something is gonna have. We're gonna have a Castlevania moment. Monsters down here. Sounds like rats. Oh, there's...
You're not hurt, are you, Link? Look at these murals. The written histories of the royal family include stories of a great war fought long ago. It was a conflict between allied tribes and someone only ever referred to as the Demon King. Is it possible? Do these murals depict the same legend? This is similar to the statues we saw earlier, a Zonai. And these figures look like Hylians. This depiction certainly suggests that the Zonai descended from the heavens. It is said that my ancestors, the first of Hyrule's royal family, were born from a union with gods who had descended from the heavens. These murals tell a similar story, and if they are accurate, then the gods mentioned were the Zonai. They must have forged a relationship with the Hylians of that time, working together to establish the kingdom of Hyrule. This figure, he seems to be stealing something of incredible power from the young kingdom. This all aligns with what I've read during my studies. And then this, it shows the Demon King. And a fierce battle against him. If the creature depicted here really does represent the Demon King, then... Oh. Incredible! This mural must be the Great War recorded in the royal histories. This is the imprisoning war, and the events that led up to it. Link! This is a huge discovery! All right then, now to use this invention of Pura's. I'm glad I didn't leave it behind. It's so easy to record. You point it and click. Oh, it looks like the rest of the murals are obscured. Just what is this place? Maybe we'll find more answers farther ahead. Link, let's keep moving deeper.
Let's use some bombs. We can clear the rubble with the power of explosions! Ah, great. My controller... I may have to cut this short. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it'll function while it's hooked up to a computer. That's like what I have it hooked up to currently. I think it will. I can't tell you how excited I am. But I will anyway. The murals are down here. The pictures support so much of what historians have written about. I mean, maybe we need to shake its light to actually create the bombs. I mean, shake its light can produce bombs. I'm not sure if I can call it inconsistent voice acting. It's just there are scenes where there are voice acting, and there's moments where there aren't, and they're kind of consistent in their inconsistency. The sword is still glowing. Means there are orcs about. What's that, Valley? We got Yoshi drums going on. I've seen the trailers. What is this place? Let's continue, but we must be extremely careful. Okay. I don't think there's that much to explore.
What is that?
got...
Was that the sword that seals the darkness? The blade that shatters so easily against my power cannot save you from me. Zelda. You who carries that fragile sword. A link. Raru placed his faith in you. And that was all you could do.
How do you know our names?
But Zelda isn't just absent or kidnapped or anything. Like, I'm not sure. I kind of care whether or not she's playable, but um, if she's not being, if she's not playable, at least make her an NPC that we could just go to, and that she serves some sort of active role in helping us along the way. Like, there are a fair number of Zelda games where she isn't. Where she plays like a kind of more active role in the story. Like Ocarina of Time.
Link, finally you wake. I've heard a great deal about you from Zelda. Your wounds were severe. I am relieved to see you escape death. Your arm, however, was beyond saving. I had to replace it, lest the injury endanger you further.
Of course. Decayed Master Sword. Sword seals darkness. The sacred power has been diminished after being ravaged by the gloom beneath rabbit Hero Castle. I wonder. So something I was speculating about, and that I wanted to see. I think I may have mentioned on stream at some point that what I wanted to see this game do is to give us possibly the. I think it was going to be my idea would be to have be the Master Sword, to give us one weapon that never breaks, but that is has some limited utility. So even if all of our weapons break, we can always fall back on the Master Sword. And I think that's what they're doing. Like I'm pretty sure that's what they're doing here, and it's actually is a potential positive. Probably someone's already like speed run this game in an hour and a half, which is freaking ridiculous. This is decent video game logic. Very good. Archaic legwear. Simple classic legwear. They're well worn and showing their age, but they still got a few good years left in them. They can be a bit cumbersome to have to tie the straps. Hey, we've got cross-dressing right away. I wonder if this has been a time. Wow. I think we may have a time jump here. Wait, what was this jump? gonna have like an actual title reveal here. Yep. Okay. As we see up Link's dress. And we die. As the water hits us like a ton of bricks. Do we still drown if we run out of energy? I imagine we do. Not necessarily like... I don't think it's actually realistic. Let me look at this. Look at how this works. Okay. So I like swim out. Yeah. That is not at all realistic. Like, Link is just somehow a terrible swimmer. Like, that is not even realistic. Grant, I haven't... I don't think I've ever actually been a particularly good swimmer. I'm really hoping this thing isn't going to run out of charge while it's actually plugged in. But from what I understand, like, if you know how to, like, properly, like, relax your body or whatever, you're not just going to sink. Like, you can, you can float. And there's a few ways you can translate that realism to gameplay. One is that as long as you're standing still, you're regaining energy. Or you're not actually actively paddling, you're regaining energy. You can regain energy. You can float, and you can regain energy. Now you don't necessarily regain the energy as quickly as if you were just standing. You know, if you weren't having to keep yourself floating or whatever, because maybe that requires a little bit of energy. I don't know. Like you could like I would, if I were designing this, I would have it so that you could you regain energy as long as you're not actively swimming. Granted, I kind of get where they're going. I sort of get what they're doing with the swimming mechanic from a design standpoint. And I'm guessing it's identical to Breath of the Wild. So, like, if you run out of energy as you're swimming, you warp back to shore. You drown and then you warp back to shore with a bit less health. Which isn't terribly realistic either, but it's like the idea, as I understand it, I'm not sure if I'm gonna give it a positive or a negative at this point. I'm not sure if we're gonna do any positives or negatives tonight. It just depends on how far we get and whether or not I get to anything that has um, that I could give a good solid positive to. I mean, I'm pretty sure that Matt Mercer's voice acting for Ganondorf is or Ganon or whatever the heck they're calling him this time uh, is gonna get a positive. He is a good voice actor. He's like, I'm tempted to just give it 3 positives outright. One for being Matt Mercer, one for Matt Mercer doing a good job, and another for being Matt frickin' Mercer. We could give 2 positives for, like, no, it's not 2 positives for him being Matt Mercer. There's one positive for him being Matt Mercer. There's another one for him being Matt freaking Mercer. There's a very subtle distinction between those 2 positives. Um, I give one positive for the casting choice, another positive for the actual performance. What was I was talking about the swimming mechanics. Um, because I think the swimming mechanics are just meant to be a way to basically encourage the player to improve their stamina. Really, because it's like climbing. You always have to, like, when you see a body of water and something you want to get to, you kind of have to judge. Okay, can I make it? Can I actually make the distance? That's kind of the extent of it. Do I think I can scale that mountain with the stamina I have currently? Do I need to, like, cook some things or equip some armor that reduces the stamina drain? Etc. Etc. So by not, like, embracing mechanics to make it easier, that might actually make it more realistic technically. Um, yeah, yeah. I might see see if I can. I'm pretty sure I hand wrote the original review of Breath of the Wild, and I did type it up, even though I really could have. I'm assuming the UI is different. A little bit. Dang, I really need to see if I can consult my, huh. Oh yeah, that's the, of course, okay. Sky Shroom. I didn't even read the description and I can't anymore. Oh dang it. A tree branch. Huh. Okay. I take these are gonna be, like, part of the combining. Wow. So I can't give a positive for the Master Sword. It still breaks and needs to recharge. Incredibly easily at that. And it doesn't even do that much damage. So no, I can't give a positive. It's not going to be a negative. Because we had to analyze the actual durability mechanics in general, as well as the fusion mechanics and how they interact with the durability mechanics. But that was an incredibly easy. It's incredibly easy to break. That's just. It's not negative. It's just. Wow. I think we're gonna die to the first enemy we freaking encounter. I'm sure I can make it for this tutorial. I like to die. Is that another one of those freaking laser eye things? A wooden stick. A stick. I guess we have to go toward whatever the hell this is. Okay, it's not. Friend? Link, I've waited for you. Prince Zelda left something for you in my care. Yep, I think there's a time gap again. This is a Purapad. I'm told it is an invaluable tool that will provide you with direction. It's not sure it's late. Purapad. This is Zelda's prized device. It has a variety of features that are essential for adventure. It looks more like a Nintendo Switch this time, I think. Unfortunately, I'm pretty sure that the actual Tears of the Kingdom of Collector's Edition OLED console, which I was tempted to get because I don't have the OLED yet, but considering that, like, it's my job to play this game in docked mode, and I'm poor, so, like, that's the two reasons why I'm not upgrading to OLED. Also, there's a new freaking console coming out. in like a year or two. So um, that may be backward compatible and also be an OLED. So um, what does the I'm pretty sure that the limited edition console looks nothing like this. I also was tempted to get the amiibo that was made specifically for this game, and like one is more expensive than it also was like sold out at GameStop, and I think if it was in stock, I may have gotten it, but it wasn't, so I didn't. And looking up what it gives you was just like a custom sailcloth, and a lot of the other cards give you custom sailcloths that I think look cooler than the one that you get from the um. What am I looking at? Oh yeah, the yeah, the Tears of the Kingdom OLED just um yeah, I remember correctly. It's just like gold with like blue and white accents. It looks cool. Don't get me wrong. I really like. I kind of like to have it, but I kind of be more like it more if it was designed to like look like this. I see this from Princess Zelda. I have now passed it on to you. Records indicate that Princess Zelda is waiting at the location marked on this map. P- please have her be a recurring character. We stand in the Garden of Time. Temple of Time is visible from here. It was used in the distant past. Many rites and ceremonies of the kingdom were held there. But no more. Now it's a lonely place. No one visits. I have no idea how anyone was able to beat this game in an hour and a half. Like on day one. Um, well, you seem to be new here. You intend to use that as a weapon against the soldier contracts? Not really. Someone who created a scathe to the strict orders to protect this land. They will regard you as a trespasser if they spot you, and directive is to eliminate all trespassers. You'll have little choice in this scenario but to fight them. It's better that you not hold back on our account. And a piece of advice if you do choose to engage with them. It's crucial to maintain a proper distance and target your opponents. Swinging haphazardly will not yield results. You can press target me if you want. Oh, but please do not actually attack. I intend to break them. And steal the apples inside. No rupees though? Lame. His own eyes didn't trade in rupees. Broken steward. There's always this conveniently Oh yeah, that's how you throw them. Okay. Cool. Oh yeah, we can throw weapons too, okay. If we're ever gonna actually do that. Of course we can't carry anymore. Is that the Temple of Time? Okay, now I have to fight two of them. Oh, well, we have to fight three of them. A long stick. Dang it. learn how to cook. Roasty sky shrimp. I roasted that, but it's yours if you want. Thanks. Oh, I didn't notice before that you were unfamiliar to me. My apologies. My task is to explain anything that visitors might require knowledge of. You may have questions about the place. Please rest assured that a construct can answer them. An example of a question you might have is how to roast food. This would be an especially good thing to ask me about. I assume you just drop it. Or drop it much closer to the fire. There you go. Baked apple, which gives you like 1 extra unit of health. I should think this is an improvement. I'm pretty sure. It's more lack of a negative than positive. But quick menus like this are good. Materials, food. Toasty cigarette streams gives you much help as a regular. Oh, we can still whistle for a horse. So we can't like just. Okay, we can't actually eat anything. I wonder if the cooking works. I guess we have to drop everything individually into the pot, which actually is... Okay. What I'm hoping is that they actually have a cooking menu. Rather than the kind of... haphazard... way that it was handled in Breath of the Wild. Which I think may have gotten a negative. Yeah, the weird thing is that once I'm actually in the game, I'm kind of used to the way the button layout works. They just in the menus. This is it's really changed.
That door will open only to those with sufficient power. I'm sorry. I did not intend to startle you. It was I that spoke to you earlier. That arm originally belonged to me. I am Raru. forgive me for appearing to you in this manner. Unfortunately, I no longer have a physical form. In any case, that arm should allow you to open this door. It seems to have lost the power to do so. You might be able to restore it, but you would need to enter a place filled with sacred light. Ah, of course. Why not visit the shrines on this island?
Of course.
The shrines. Yes, I'm sure they are the key.
I'm really tempted to like. I mean, I'm probably not gonna watch the speed run, but I just because I mean I haven't beaten the game yet. Obviously, there'd probably be at least some spoilers in the. Whoa! Negative the gameplay. Wow, that. Day-to-day interactions, I suppose. Any negative information? I don't know what. Like, it looked like I would fall into the water, but instead I fell into the ground. Arrow. Let me guess that. Yep, but dude has a bow and arrow. Called it. I didn't have to say it, but. I'm probably going to disable the motion control thing after I test it. So far, this is a pretty good tutorial island, and I'm imagining it's going to be pretty good in general. Do we have rail grinding? It'll probably look like the shield if I understood how to. Oh, that's. Oh, I thought that was just from me looking at it. Wait, maybe it is. I save here? I'm not sure if I want to. Okay, I immediately regret my decision. Like falling asleep. Hey, you had to have freaking. It's just Claude. That's interesting. If you can, like, grind on these with the shield. That would be awesome, but also I can't remember how shield surfing works. And the game isn't taking care to remind me, so. Hopefully I'm just bomb jumping this. This is how I'm actually meant to get here. Or is this one way to get here? I probably need to. Is there? Oh, there is stuff. Okay. Hopefully there's give you another mandatory stealth mission. Like, I don't even care if it's like circumventable. I mean, I guess I do care if it's circumventable, but damn, I can't remember how I reviewed it. I think I may have given it 2 negatives and a positive. Picture gaze forward, face it head on. Apply directly to the forehead. Pardon me, I was absorbed in my woodcutting. Are you here for woodcutting too? Woodcutting? Woodcutting is the practice of chopping and trees to create logs. Logs can be combined to assemble platforms. You can also chop them down further to make wood. Leather has many uses. That is why I come here daily to chop wood. Yet I still find it difficult to chop them down in the intended direction. That's why you may have heard me muttering to myself, picture case 4, face head on. Apply directly to the forehead. I apologize. I've been rambling for some time. There's an axe I no longer need over there. It's yours to use if you want to do some woodcutting. Oh my, has it grown so late already? I must have failed to notice the time bell. I will rest for the day. A Korok rod. I see that they still work. They're still at work even now. We originally created the constructs to assist in our endeavors. All of us were fond of them. I imagined they would continue to carry out their assigned tasks to this day. So wondering, is this the Raru from Ocarina of Time, or is this some... And they just retconning some things about him? Quite a few things about him, actually. I imagine they will continue to carry out their assigned tasks to this day. The fact that their labor no longer serves the purpose that they perform it still is disquieting to me. We got examples of things you can make later on. I'm guessing we're going to learn how to make a bridge later. I think I'm going to do one shrine and call it a night. Not sure what I'm gonna do tomorrow. I'm definitely gonna play this game for some period of time. Okay, we got another. I don't know if we can direct ourselves down there. Oh, okay. I've been wanting to resume simulation Sunday with The Sims. Although right now I'm just not so sure. Mushroom. Can we find a shirt somewhere? I mean, not that I mind the fan service too much, but... Also, it's funny that GameStop tried to get me to pay $2 for insurance on the cartridge.
Ah.
Because of course they did. Using the Shrine of Light long ago, I filled these places with light that purges evil. I believe this light will restore an ability your right arm has lost. Oh, then extend your hand. Boom. Rather move objects, rotate them, and stick them to other objects. This is the Ultra Hand ability. Now you can move objects freely and attach them to other objects. With it, you will be able to build a number of things, really anything you can imagine. Use Ultra Hand and receive the blessing from this shrine. Edward, you've got. Can I? Okay. Unstick. Okay. What? No. Holy R. Okay. Huh? Oh, I did. Are you kidding me? I think I pushed B instead of A. I think it may have given to good positives to the individual shrines on this tutorial item. So maybe I'll give our first positive to
arm.
Ah. That's kind of the teach unsticking. Great. Well, it works as intended. Here we go. You've done well to reach this place. You offer this lake that will cleanse you of evil. I do wonder how I should, well, let's see. This is that goes with the light that purges ancient evil and purifies with its radiance. May the light of blessing grant you the strength you seek. You're very well getting through that shrine. And you've restored an ability that... This is wonderful. This is a complete 2 more shrines. You should be able to open the door to the Temple of Time. You may want to mark the shrine in the distance of pins. Then you'll never lose track of where they are. Parapet offers you very useful scope. It's quite handy. Or do I have to... Oh, that's... Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna use motion controls. I may actually disable them. I don't know. Yeah. It's... If I'm just like casually kind of moving the controller a little bit, like it's making things shaky. I can't see where any of the other shrines are. Wait, I think there's one here. Okay, so yeah, I think it's gonna be a information positive. We're gonna start information here because for whatever reason, it's the first part of the section on my list here. Um. And interaction positive for it's gonna get at least one positive because like the implementation so far looks pretty good. I mean, we'll see if it has problems with so far. It doesn't seem to. I still I can't remember. I don't think I've ever given it a negative for lack of full voice acting. Like I'm pretty sure I didn't give a negative to Breath of the Wild for lacking full voice acting. Because full voice acting is a weird thing. Just kind of in general sense. Because like okay, like, if we look back at like the original Legend of Zelda or A Link to the Past, maybe even Link to the Past might be a somewhat better comparison because it has a lot more dialogue to it than and story to it than the original Legend of Zelda. So let's just look at A Link to the Past. That does not have any voice acting, and would that get a negative? Probably not. Like that's an aspect where I think the time it was made and the technology available um offsets it somewhat. Now, you might say, like, well, what's the big deal? Like, okay, you have to read. Um, there's a few problems with that argument. Some people have dyslexia. Some people have learning disabilities where they can't read good. Um, had to go to a school designed for ants. Um, um, some people like my mother are legally blind. Um, and there's various um, like if you're fully blind, like you can't see anything at all. Um, there are some video games you can actually play. Like there are um, it takes a lot more effort, but um, I've read stories about blind people who have taught themselves how to play certain games, and have gotten very good at them using like audio cues and what have you to, you know, give for I think over a career time may have been one example of it. Um, but yeah, like that is amazing. But the thing is, you can't really enjoy the story of Ocarina of Time unless you have someone there reading it for you. Um, and that's a shame. And voice acting would help a little bit, but like, um, but like for someone who is completely blind, there aren't a lot of accessibility options you could really put into a game, and it is not really a huge deal because I think it's a technology thing. I don't think a lot of game designers are really thinking of like adding in a like a actual sonar ability. Or I don't know what else. There's probably a lot of things you could do for audio design to try and make it a little more accessible to fully blind people. But we're really talking about fully blind people. Fully blind people are a minority within video game players, to be honest. But there are some people who are legally blind, um, and granted, my mother doesn't play video games, probably can't, especially at this point. Um, but in her because hers is a degenerative um type of blindness. Um, I'm I'm not like familiar with different types of blindness, but there probably are certain types of blindness that cannot be fixed with you know um like okay like if I were wearing this watch playing glasses, I cannot read anything or I can I can't even like I have a huge TV like right in front of me, but I actually have to like either squint. I can maybe read interaction. Like it is about like 3-4 feet away from me, and it's like it's a big screen TV. Um, it's a pretty sizable TV. Um, although it's only 1080p, but whatever. Um, like only 1080p. Like it isn't 4K. and like the actual 4K TV, which is a little smaller, but it's over there, I can't read anything. Um, but like, let's just say, for example, and of course you can't see what I'm saying, so but like, I have a non-degenerative disease. I don't know, um, or some sort of condition that means that like like rods and cones are damaged or something, and my visual acuity is reduced, and corrective lenses can only do so much to fix that. Um, and I'm just stuck seeing like what I'm seeing right now. Heck, I don't even need to read glasses to have my glasses off to explain this because you can't see what I'm seeing. Um, um, is there a blur? Why would there be a blur? Although I don't know that there are things you could do a blur. Like if I were, for example, trying to play a full screen game, and I wanted to have something like off to the edges, I could create like a second version of the game with a blur effect over it. So but apparently in Streamlabs default there's no blur feature. So I guess you're going to just imagine this game but blurrier. uh It's almost midnight, so this will be my final speech. Um, so like there are some people who are blind like to play video games. Like aren't necessarily blind enough to a point where like the game is like just straight up unplayable, but blind to a point where like anything you have to read is difficult, and you have to be right up with the frame. You have to have a friend who can read things for you, or what have you. And that's like where voice acting could be useful or even essential to have full voice acting for everything. Um, but I'm still not sure if I should. It's weird because I mean it doesn't affect me obviously, so I'm kind of reviewing it from my perspective. I'm just my perspective includes the fact that I have a legally blind mother, um, so I can empathize personally with people who are blind, or are partially blind. Um, but it is something of a design choice. I think the only way I could ding it is if it's just wildly inconsistent with how it's applied. And so far, it really isn't. It's just like there's certain things that are cutscenes, have voice acting. Certain things that aren't cutscenes, no voice acting. And it's just kind of a budgetary thing. Um, at least to some extent. Um, I don't think you could really justify it for a game like, especially when you're paying 70 freaking bucks for it. but still, it is still technically a budgetary thing. Because you're putting a lot of money into just making a quality game. You know, time and effort into making a quality game with a quality story. Cause I mean, one thing that's maybe somewhat valid is that basically, well, look at a game like Morrowind. Morrowind has a lot of text. You know, you have um, you know, a ton of different subjects that you could talk to almost any NPC about, and it's, you know, blocks of text that you could learn about the setting and the world, and you know, and from a design standpoint, you are not limited with how much text you can put, you know, you can have, because you're not worried about, okay, we need to have someone actually read all of this dialogue out loud to the player. Like, you don't have to concern yourself with that. As a writer, you know, how much how much time you're gonna have to have voice actors in the booth to read all of his dialogue to the player. You don't have to worry. You may have to worry about like some interface things, but potentially, but generally you don't have to worry about it. So that's an area where lack of voice acting is kind of useful, because you don't have to worry about, oh, every line of dialogue is going to cost, you know, every word is going to cost like a penny or something. You know, because we have to get them in the booth to read it, and then we have to do several takes, and you have to have a voice director to figure out how to have them speak, and we're going to have all the engineers, and you know, the actual studio time, and electricity, and all the overhead basically involved in the process of recording, and then there's lip syncing, and yeah. So I can understand it from that point of view, but when it comes to this game, is there really that much more dialogue than like Skyrim or or dang it, I was thinking of, or like a Final Fantasy game, for example. Like most, I think I haven't played that many, but I haven't played Final Fantasy 15 at all, so I don't know if it has full voice acting, but I imagine it has full voice acting. Maybe it doesn't. Um, I actually don't know if I've ever played a Japanese game that has complete voice acting in it, or at least like an RPG or action RPG game that has complete voice acting. Um, because I have the feeling that it may just be more stingy. And I think it is. That this is kind of the thing. Nintendo is very stingy when it comes to voice acting in its games, and I think a lot of Japanese companies are a bit stingy when it comes to voice acting. Um, and that's just it. And it's a little it's kind of annoying, and it's kind of slightly ableist. Um, I think that probably the bigger concern is dyslexia. I think dyslexia is a not uncommon disability. It's probably more common than legal blindness, and especially the type of legal blindness that would be on that particular sweet spot of like, okay, you're not blind enough to be for gaming to be terribly impractical, but you're blind enough where like reading is a challenge. Like that's where you have to be. Like dyslexia is just straight up. Um, because there are ways to counteract dyslexia. Um, either through just I guess learning to read and learning ways to cope with disability, or having actual accessibility options, which obviously, as far as I can tell, aren't here. So I think there's particular fonts that are designed for dyslexic people that make characters easier to read, from what I understand. Um, I I might just have to say that like I'm not sure if I like the thing is I'm not sure if I call full voice acting a positive. If it's good quality full voice acting, positive for just the voice acting in general and the performances. But uh I don't know if I would. It's just one of those weird things, I guess. Um, like I'm spending like half an hour just discussing it, and I guess I don't know how many people. I really wish again that I had an active chat who I could bounce off of and just debate these things because just debating with myself was kind of boring. I mean, I guess I could do it all day because I'm spending half an hour, but that's kind of the thing. I take a long time when I'm debating myself, and if I'm debating someone else, like we have twice as much. If I had just one person, I have twice as much brain power dedicated, and also twice as many points of views going into it. Ellie, what the hell? Do not attack me while I'm talking. In fact, do not attack me at all. Ever again. Anyway, after spending like half an hour, however long I've been spending talking about it, I can't bring myself to give it a negative. I think I've given negatives before for it being kind of feeling inconsistent. But there's only been one moment, which is like when the master sword started glowing. Um, Felt kind of a little weird that like suddenly. But that was a couple things. One is that it was the first instance where voice acting was just gone, and it the more legitimate thing is that it was like a scripted moment. It wasn't like, oh, we're talking to Princess Zelda. It's like this is kind of a cutscene, but not really. So it just caught me off guard a little bit that there wasn't voice acting. Whatever. Um, you can tell me what you think in the comments. I guess if you're um watching the VOD, or if you're watching it right now and just don't want to chat and would rather lay down these things in comments. Um, but anyway, Since we're gonna leave it, we're all positives all around, just for the Ultra Hand mainly. Um, I could get a positive from Matt Mercer like already. I just haven't heard enough of it to like. Like this is kind of metagame information. I just know how good of an actor and voice actor Matt Mercer is. That I would feel confident giving his voice acting at least one positive. I'm probably just gonna go ahead and do that. Like Zelda's voice acting, I don't know if I gave her a positive in the first game. It's just kind of there. I feel confident giving him at least one positive for just staying in the game. But like, if I knew that like Troy Baker, granted, okay, Troy Baker, Troy Baker is in Mass Effect 3. I would not give him a positive for Mass Effect 3. Like I give him a positive for like The Last of Us, definitely. I give him a positive for Persona 4. Like even if I hadn't played The Last of Us, I know enough about The Last of Us. Like I played, I don't know how much of it. Um, I think I got past like maybe the first stealth focus section. That's like the last part I really remember from the remastered version. I actually own the remaster, the remaster, which I'll play one day, or at least attempt to play one day. Excuse me, I'm really burpy suddenly. It's them talking so much. But I think there's like a degree to which huh. Well, I'm okay. With The Last of Us, it's just reputation alone. It's a good game. No one's complained about his character. He's a main character. He's like basically the lead of that game. Although Ellie is kind of taken over, I think, over time. I from what I understand, she is more of a lead character in the second game than in the first. But it is funny, like The Last of Us Part One, like the cover. Like I'm planning on going to a convention where Troy Baker's gonna be. I don't know. Uh, I'm more inclined to get an autograph from and possibly a photo op from the guy who did the voice of Shagoraf. I forget his name suddenly. Just because I'm a bigger fan of the Elder Scrolls than I am of The Last of Us. But like, I feel weird bringing my copy of The Last of Us Part One to have him sign because he's not on the cover. And but I think he's on the cover of the remaster. Okay, Ellie seems to think that he's on the cover of the remaster. I need to shut up and go to and wrap things up so I can go to bed. But if I played like Mass Effect, please don't jump up on me. I'm autistic, okay? I do not respond well to sudden stimuli, okay? I am not. I am not as agitated as I sound, okay? I'm not going crazy. You don't have to comfort me. But as I was saying, I think if I went into Mass Effect 3 blind, just knowing, oh, Troy Baker's in the cast, maybe I would give a positive, just be like, oh, he voices the character in Mass Effect 3. He's a really good voice actor. I'm going to just go ahead and give him a positive early on. I would probably remove that positive by the time it's over. Like, he is wasted. I would take away the positive and add a negative. I'm not sure if it would be for the voice acting. It would just be for the character in general. Anyway, like Kai Lang is a character that even Troy Baker cannot save. Anyway, a bunch of things you can do. It'll take a few seconds of your time, as well as other things that are a bit more involved. But of course, all of that is entirely up to you. And so thank you very much for watching.